Police in Kansas storm an innocent man's house and then taser him. That man almost completely deaf, and he wasn't wearing his hearing aid at the time because he'd just gotten out of the shower.
Officer just kept doing like that, and I couldn't hear what he said, and I kept going to my ear yelling at him because I was scared, and I saw he had the gun. I was sitting there, I can't hear.
Well, Donnell Williams said he was only wearing a towel around his waist when the cops broke into his home. Police have apologized over and over for the mistake. They say they thought they were responding to a call about a shooting, and they were worried about their safety because Williams wasn't obeying commands to show his hands. This is just one incident in a string of stories we brought you lately on Prime News about police using stun guns to subdue people. And each one has people asking if the taser is really necessary. Joining us from Orlando tonight, Richard Weinblatt. He's a former police chief and stun gun instructor and currently the manager of the Seminole County College Police Academy. Good to have you back with us tonight. Let's forget the fact that this man is deaf, and let's not even bring that into the equation, but he's standing there holding a towel, and he can't go anywhere. He's got cops in his house. Why the taser? Why not tackle the guy?
Well, here's the problem, Erica, and you and I have talked about this kind of damned if you don't kind of scenario before. Is they responded because there was a report of a shooting in the apartment. So they entered the apartment under what's called exigent circumstance, an emergency, and they moved very, very quickly to try to secure that scene, and they have to make a split-second decision. Apparently, and I have not been part of the investigation there, but apparently they could not see his hands. And that was the fastest and quickest and really safest way to handle that. To tackle somebody when they think they might have a gun is really not the thing to do.
Even when there are other cops around, because I know this is something that we've talked about recently, this woman who was tasered at a police station. Later on, we found out she was pregnant. At the time, the officer said he couldn't tell. But there was more than one officer there at the police station at the time when one officer decided to resort to a taser. I mean, when it's in a police station and there are several officers around, is that really the first way to go?
Well, what a lot of people are not understanding, there's a lot of misunderstandings about the taser. The taser, as you and I have discussed before, is very low on the use of force continuum, and it sounds very sensational, 50,000 volts, and the volts are actually quite, not harmful if the amps that the electricians will tell you that will get you. It's kind of like the garden hose that hits your skin. The amount of water doesn't affect you, but if you put your finger over the nozzle, the opening of the hose, and increase the pressure, that's like the amps, and that's what will get you.
So it's the force. When you look at this, though, and I got to say, I'm looking at this as a layman, obviously.
Right.
I see it, and I understand that officers need to protect themselves as well, but it seems to me more and more we're hearing about automatically going for the taser, and even though you say it sounds more sensational than it is, and it's actually kind of a low on the scale of weapons, to me it seems like a weapon.
Right. Well, it is a weapon, just like the other tools that the officers have are weapons. Their baton is a weapon, their pepper spray is a weapon, their hands are a weapon. So what you want to do is you want to go with that weapon that is least likely to cause death or serious injury. And if you look over all of the contacts that police have had, suspect injuries have actually gone down from the old way that we used to do policing, which was bashing heads and breaking bones. So it's actually, when you look at individual cases, it seems sensational. But when you look at the broad spectrum, officer injuries have gone down and suspect injuries have gone down.
So are officers then being trained to go to the taser first?
Well, officers are being trained at my academy and other academies around the country to use taser as another option. It may or may not be appropriate for every situation, and they have to evaluate it. But again, it's that split-second decision that they have to make.
All right, Richard Weinblatt, appreciate your time.
Thank you, ma'am.